Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for your presence here. I want to thank Eddie for inviting me, Nancy for organizing, Lalisa for that beautiful altar in the corner, gorgeous, and for all of you. Your presence is very important in this place for this occasion. John, thank you so much for inviting me and also for asking me to come up with a ceremony, with a concept. It's not that I came up with it, but let me explain to you the significance of this heart, the candles, the water, the salt. I grew up in Mexico, and I remember my grandmother always had an altar. She filled the altar with religious images. So she had all the icons. She had La Virgen de Guadalupe, La Mano Poderosa, everything that you would find in a Mexican home. But I remember when John brought up the ceremony, I remember that my grandma always had a glass filled with water on the altar. And I remember asking her one time, Grandma, why water? What does it have to do with the religious images? And she said, it doesn't have anything to do with the religious images necessarily. What happens is that the spirits visit at night. They come and visit us. And that, for me as a 7-year-old, really took me aback. I said, so the spirits come and they drink water? And she said, yes. Why are they so thirsty, Grandma? And she told me, and then she said, oh, the spirits, in order to visit us, they have to make this long, long journey. And by the time they get to us, they are very thirsty. And so we need to place some water on the altar for them. And I thought that was very loving of her to do that for the spirits. And I grew up surrounded by them because of Grandma and because of her beliefs and her stories. So I decided to bring that element into this ceremony for today. We have the water for the 107 who perished. We will be calling out names, not all the 107, perhaps 8 or 10, and only for the symbolism of it, the 10 represent all the others. There are many of them who don't have names. They are unknowns, unfortunately. Now the salt, both the water and the salt are used as, they symbolize purity, or purifying. And that's why I decided also to pour some salt around the water. The candles, the belief is that just like with the water, the dead, they are guided by the light of the candles to reach us. And so we keep lights in the altares for that reason. The flowers for the beauty, even though they are dead, they very much still love beauty. They still want to be surrounded by it. They want to smell the cempasúchil flower that's very fragrant and that we see a lot in the altares around this day of Dia de los Muertos. And with that in mind, with all the symbols on the table, lovingly put together by John Mesa, I would like to share with you a Native American poem, a Navajo poem, Walk in Beauty, I Walk in Beauty. And that's the one that I prepared. Today I will walk out. Today everything negative will leave me. I will be as I was before. I will have a cool breeze over my body. I will have a light body. I will be happy forever. Nothing will hinder me. I walk with beauty before me. I walk with beauty behind me. I walk with beauty below me. I walk with beauty above me. I walk with beauty around me. My words are beautiful. In beauty all day long may I walk. Through the returning seasons may I walk. On the trail marked with pollen may I walk. With dew above my feet may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. With beauty below me may I walk. With beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. In old age wandering on a trail of beauty, lively may I walk. In old age wandering on a trail of beauty, living again may I walk. my words will be beautiful. And that is my wish for the 107, that they are walking in me. Some of the names that Eddie provided me with, those are the ones that I will call out loud, as I said, 8 to 10 only, and then I would like for you to say presente, and that invokes them, and that brings them to us for this moment. Salías del templo un día, llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi. Salías del templo un día, llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi. Hermoso huipil llevabas, llorona, que la Virgen te creí. Hermoso huipil llevabas, llorona, que la Virgen te creí. Adolfo Ángel Gómez Chun. Presente. Osvaldo Rodríguez Ramírez. Presente. Alberto Espinosa Ramírez. Presente. And one for the unknowns, presumed to be unknown. Presente.
Presente.
Emerson Raúl Valladares.
Presente.
Presente. Andrés Delia Miranda.
Presente.
Alfonso Valladares Nieto.
Presente.
Alan Gutiérrez.
Presente.
Ay de mí, llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Now a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives. Thank you. The end. And now I would like to share a poem, and then I will be calling the other poets who have so generously, well, they're here to accompany us, so I thank you for that. I have memories about going to El Panteón, going to the cemeteries to decorate the tombs, to clean them, to place flowers, to refresh the vases. And that's one of the poems that I will share with you. Day of the Dead in Tacubaya, Coahuila, Mexico, circa 1977. Dead grips the wheel of his rusty Ford, gritting his teeth whenever one of the tires goes over a rock. In the back, we all scream in mock terror, each jump rearranging every single bone in our young skeletons. It is a chilly November morning. Our backsides hurt from traveling all night. I overhear Dad telling Mom and Grandma Lola that we just covered the 800 miles from the Rio Grande Valley to the state of Coahuila in record time. Unlike my brothers, I only slept for a few hours. I spent the entire trip imagining we were monarch butterflies flying over the cemetery. Magically, the image of all of us clinging onto Grandpa Mundo's gravesite, a flesh and blood Oyamel tree. When we finally arrive, people are busily filling buckets to overflowing at a nearby faucet, only to stagger away, holding a bucket in each hand, zigzagging through crowds and mounds of dirt. Nothing in the United States compares to what I am seeing at that moment. How could I ever describe to my friends the smells, the colors, and the feelings attached to El Día de los Muertos in Mexico? Mom, Dad, and Grandma are already busy unloading everything we brought to spend the day among tombstones. As I watch them walk toward the gravesite, I feel joy because our loved ones know we are celebrating their lives. Dad sends for the mariachis to strum their guitars with music and lyrics that speak to our sorrow, leaving us teary-eyed but smiling and all the memories they have unleashed on this special day of our muertitos. I will share two from this book, and then I will call another book. Heart Song. A year ago, I woke up next to you, our bedroom embracing penumbra. I heard your raspy, sickly voice wish me a happy birthday. We kissed and clasped hands beneath cool sheets. I have placed this memory within the chambers of my heart. I hear its song each time I exhale. Deterioro. Una de las tablas de madera en nuestra terraza está floja. Emite un maullido cuando la piso. Una grieta vertical corre a lo largo de la pared este. Se asemeja a la falla de San Andrés. Hierba alta potruye por entre los espacios de los peldaños y arrenisca en el patio. Todo está en deterioro desde que te fuiste. Proyectos a medio terminar me reprochan desde cada rincón. Focos que deben reemplazarse. Linternas de mano que requieren baterías. El garaje es un desastre total. Hay tantas cosas que requieren tu atención. La casa entera gime, se queja y llora por las noches. Igual yo.
I just want to say a few words, in terms of why we're here, and I want to thank a few of you that are here. It really is nice to hear, in terms of the poetry and the ceremony and the symbolism that we're going through. And La Lisa, incredible. The altar is incredible, in terms of, projecting what it is, in terms of what we've been doing, in Honduras for the last 8 years. And I kind of in the very beginning, I would find myself in cemeteries around my birthday and doing exhumations with Dr. Kate Spradley of Texas State. And, and we've continued the effort in terms of some of the exhumations. John was with us last week in terms of observing what we were doing in San Ignacio. But I just want to, the fact that the center exists is because there is a humanitarian crisis that very few people really understand in terms of what's taking place. People, understand that there's migration and the political issue that it is, but they don't really understand the crisis and the death that the policies are causing. And that's exactly what the policies are doing, is death by policy. It is state violence that is occurring, and people are dying every day. And welcome, come on in. And the center, I'm trying to institutionalize the center because the work, the forensic work and the effort in terms of identification and repatriation, and the fact that there's a need for a continued advocacy in terms of how we can change the system that's broken. So everybody says it's broken, but there's no political will to fix it, because that's the policy, is to keep it the way it is, because it serves the corporate interest in this country in terms of the labor that is needed. So I've been asked, okay, well, what's your solution? We just need to regularize people at the border, identify people, have people get background checks, and people come in and go about their business and do the work that they're going to do anyway. Nobody else wants to do that work. So I just wanted to preface, and kind of thank John for all his support, and Julieta, and everybody here, in terms of Nancy is vice president of the board, and all the support that we get, and we'll continue to make the effort, in terms of making the effort. And it's only 1 hour and 10 minutes from here where people are dying. 1 hour and 10 minutes from here. And that in Brooks County, in terms of the nature, 107, 108, 9, and who knows how many bodies have been recovered this weekend. But I want to thank everybody here that's taken the effort to be here, and we'll continue. And let's see who's going to be the next poet to come up.
Yes. Thank you very much for inviting me here, John and Julieta, and for all your coordination of this event, Nancy and Lalisa and Eddie, and all the work that you've done in the past 8 years to try to help politically, socially, for people to become more aware politically, socially, and personally. The first poem I'm going to read, I'll read 2 poems, and the first one is from Emmy Pettis, who is a, oh, sorry. It's trying to make you sound good. Okay. So Emmy Pettis is a teacher, scholar, poet in the Rio Grande Valley, and is part of the poets, had founded Poets in Resistance, works a lot with the poets in the valley, and was our Texas Poet Laureate in 2020. I'm going to read the central poem in here. It's a long poem. I'm going to read some chunks throughout it. It's called Rio Grande Bravo. And the poem does illustrate what you were talking about, Eddie, illustrating and exploring the humanitarian crisis. The epigraph is, the following immigration officers who have successfully completed basic immigration law enforcement training are hereby authorized and designated to exercise the power conferred by Section 287A of the Act to use deadly force should circumstances warrant it. That's the epigraph. The ambiguity of life, the ambiguity of moments, the certainty of moments, the certainty of laws, the ambiguity of laws. El Rio Grande Bravo has an invisible line down its center, an invisible caesura on water where I want to apply stitches like skin healing border into water again. Liquid cannot be stitched, imagined by some Frankenstein doctor threading water. I am trying to remember my love of the poetic line of poetic breaks, and the patrol van hasn't moved in an hour on the new levee at the old Hidalgo pump house, world birding center, where it's now easier to search across and down into the river, into Mexico, U.S. side, a concrete wall levee disguised with dirt piled up to form a mountain. I saw the wall before it was quickly covered in earth in time for the pump house centennial celebration, while temporary hires planted indigenous plants to attract hummingbirds and painted the museum. While the mariachis played and the Tejano band played, the wall quickly covered in earth for agents to drive and walk on. We are not rocks. Agents are not guns. We are not rocks. Agents have guns. Use guns. Agents are Hispanic, white, black, Asian, Native American, men, women. The river's middle line not ambiguous when there's no water in the sandy Rio Grande and a few puddles, and El Rio Bravo channel controlled. Young men are not rocks. Let them run. Let them keep running. Home, please, let them. All the ambiguity of detained women, all the clarity of detained women, all the ambiguity of detained women, all the clarity of detained women, all the clarity of too many agents too soon, trained and untrained, untrained and trained, agents as walls of hands that sometimes grab, all the coyotes before them that grabbed and grabbed, all the women and children who haven't slept, all the women and children knowing what's been done to them, all the banked on ambiguity of the women's and children's silences, all the banked on clarity of silences, all the clarity ambiguity of deportation, all the ambiguity clarity of trying to cross again. The wall builders waved at us with sorry on their faces. They are making our people build it, says a student, to keep our people out. No time for elegant lines or teaching of form before pumpkin time. The river rushes past and people still possess the need to cross it. Desire and need are different entities. We cannot tattoo roses on the wall. Can't do tattoo Gloria Anzaldua's roses on the wall. Roses grow in the earth and white-winged doves. The doves coo all day with roosters at Valle de la Paz Cemetery, the Panteon in Harville near La Salle del Rey, where deer snort warnings from the monte, warn visitors, because the freshwater puddles near the saline lake are shared, and deer prints outnumber all others, wedge prints fill with salt, and when the sun beats down on the washed-up body of a crystallized frog, I remember Prietita having to kill and bury her fawn before the game warden arrives and incarcerates her puppy. And I remember a gardener tending flowers was thrown by a car carelessly backing up fast in a McAllen strip mall parking lot. The gardener forced a dizzy smile, spoke only Spanish when he finally stood up. He didn't want to call attention to his presence on this earth, the strip mauler, and so the driver zoomed off. And I remember the parakeets eating bottle brush seeds in spring, their anxious huddling in fall on urban electric wires. I remember buying cascarones on a spring corner after my own accidents. I remember Brownsville's red-faced parrots, the ancient tortoise at Laguna Ariscosa, 100-year-old sable palms uprooted for the wall's concrete footing. I remember the confluence of river and gulf at Boca Chica, and the fisher women, men, and children across the Playa Baghdad, Matamoros. I remember wanting to plant and water roses, como las palabras de gloria, como la gente del valle, como Mexicanos in the borderlands. And when I wake up in the morning feeling love, and when I wake up in the morning with love, and when I wake up in the morning and feel love, and when I wake up in the morning already loving how the body works to help us feel it. And that was Emmy Pettis, her central poem in the book, With the River on Our Faces, Rio Grande Bravo. I'm going to read another poem and then thank you all again for this really special event. This is called A Hustle, Flying Over the Desert, and it is a commemoration of all those who have passed on, who were taken and passed on. 190 migrants who passed on. 109 or so. Just remembering them today is so special. And I remember about 7 years ago traveling with Nancy and Alicia Gallegos to Falfurrias and meeting Eddie and meeting the sheriff down there, and when they had just discovered the unmarked graves in Falfurrias. And it was a really unforgettable experience for me to be part of that and to start to hear the stories of the people who were trying to migrate over and just did not have a chance to make it, to follow their dreams. So this is for these people, and it's also for our ancestors and all of us who are working in all of our different ways to make a change. I believe that we're all part of a human family, and I feel blessed to be part of this community in Corpus Christi, all of us doing our work to make things better. So thank you. Bless the chosen ones in the back rows, stuck together like artichoke hearts. Bless the rain as it pours on the just and unjust, and bless the passengers and the sweet blessed hearts of the four wailing, mucus-draining children. Bless their mother and father, sneezing into their arms, from the badlands and highways of my oil-rigged heart. Bless them, bless us, which is to say, may your heart not suffer. May it take the pressure, the interruption without fracture, the standbys and straining, the dumbstruck loneliness and its blessed strickenness. May it keep its rhythm down the arroyos and cracked terrains, its verdant slopes too, sweeping down from the longing peaks and ventricles from the valleys. Bless each valley of your heart to the valley of the shadow of death. Bless the patchwork, burnt-out fields of your heart, the corrugated folds folding over the staggering clouds, blessed in their towers and their silver hearts, draping over the blessed blue wings of your heart. Bless the engines of your heart, the metal foil, nuts and bolts of it, and the maker. Bless the screwer of the bolts of it. Bless the braver of the heat on the tarmac of your hulking heart. Bless the tundra too, and the numbing blue hands of the one de-icing the blessed wings in the wintering months of your Arctic heart. Bless the flaps and slats, the liftoffs of your heart. Bless propulsion. Bless the glide in the glimmering skies of your blessed dragonfly heart. Bless the landing gears and gentle landings of your runaway, rattling, cocooned heart. Bless the frayed belt of your heart and its belly folding over the blessed buckles pressed into the narrow seats and fold-out tables, the vena cava of your heart. Bless the B-rated movies scrolling across your sentimental, guilty, pleasure-blessed heart. Bless the gluttony and gorging of your heart, the jagged gorges and birth. Bless the river widening wider, your heartbeat, a blue schooner sailing far down the blessed current of your heart toward open sea, rolling to a distant shore, the clean palm's majestic sway in your garden heart, the banyan and thatched roof home nestled in the blessed 100-acre wood of your Christopher Robin heart. Bless the honey pot, the elderberry and lilac of your huckleberry heart. Bless the bruising pulp and stain, the steam-blessed log-hauling rigs of your heart, the wolf creeks and salmon rush, the shipyards, the cargo-battered bulging ports of your heart. Bless the coliseums and bridges of your heart. Bless the risk, the truss and lattice, the sheer and cantilever spar, the architect's vision, the cable-stayed harp and fan design, suspending your great heart, span by span. Bless the tension, the holding open to one another's truths. Bless its breathing in and out. Bless our ride in the lawful land of prey and predator, the one vast mind. Bless its accordion consciousness, the universe expanding, contracting, collecting the data, recording us, the lost homunculus. Take this down then, inscribe this, release it forever. Bless this turtle island, sliding down the grainy shore, like a sand-dollar chip, a cut of shard, light years defining us whole, flying the wilderness, heart-shocked beast, drumming yes, bless us, yes.
Thank you for asking me to be here for us writers from the People's Poetry Festival. John especially. Yes, right there. Okay, good. Thank you, Eddie, for all the very hard work you do all the time that so many of us have no idea that's going on as day to day that you see. I'm going to read one poem out of my book, Pearl. It's a fitting for this today. I've never read this poem in public, and it's about a friend who passed away. And I have to tell the truth, I probably never had an in-person conversation with this person, but we over Facebook group to be friends, and though we went to the same high school together. In memoriam, Lisa Burrell Evans Brown. Did she die on her birthday? Was it self-inflicted or just a part of life? Tough questions, but sexy Lisa is gone. I remember her in a short skirt, dancing outfit twirling so her black panties were for all to see, her blonde hair sway. Only a freshman then, she was a dream to my young eyes. Through FB, some 40 years later, we connected again. When I stated I had kissed Laura Graham's behind the couch in 3rd grade, Lisa's comment was, "You were a sex pot." She was deeply moved with the clipped nudes I messaged her on consecutive birthdays. We were thousands of miles apart in so many ways. Her husband's death 8 years ago haunted her as viewed through her memory post online. Though since January, her comments and likes tapered off to almost nothing at all. She used to upload pictures of her lovely garden, or fresh snow, or delicious meals, or her Labrador, lovable black lab Rue on walks. Who will walk Rue now? What will her children do with her Portland home? Where did her heart finally fail to beat? Her blonde hair gone silver, though, she commented about how her and her friends' legs went up in the air in cars parked in the hills during their senior year. Lisa's drawn unicorn next to her senior portrait with one word, free. I was a little worried about reading here because I didn't have anything fitting, and then I wrote 2 poems in the last 3 days. So I guess that's what poets do. This one's called Sacredness of Life. Greed, money, and guns. They took what they could carry. Bellies painfully empty already. Someplace had to be better. Estados Unidos, El Norte, Hermano y Hermana. What was another river to cross? Begging all 1,400 miles of walk. Chased by Ise, no money, no food, no water. Ripped and battered. Estados Unidos, no bueno. Hunkered under a mesquite, alone. No God, no burning bush, no talking snake. Solo quiero una oportunidad, fathomless, that in Estados Unidos is greed, money, guns, and lies. And I have to apologize for this next poem to the 11 that I did not count in this poem because I thought it was 98 this morning when I wrote it. So please, please forgive me. 98. 98? What? Degrees? That's good. Brooks County, Death Valley. What? El Migre? Those piss ant motherfuckers slicing water bottles, dashing food supplies. 98. Demasiado. Pasaro. No es suficiente. Demasiado muertas. Sangre es humanos. El migre. Estados Unidos. Sangre a sus manos. 98. Diolas están en paz. Paz, amigas y amigos. Paz. Sorry about that. Thank you very much, and once again, thank you, Eddie, so much, and everybody here. John, thank you so much. Juliana, all.
Once again, I would like to echo what Tom and thank you all, the coordinators of this event. I feel humbled being in the presence of this group that I have not taken the time to participate. But I commit myself before you to do that in the near future. I'm going to open my reading today with an epigram from a fellow poet from Nuevo Laredo, Marcos Rodriguez Leca, that says, every they catch men, women, and children every single day at the river, and they drown their dreams. My second poem is dedicated to the best friend of my nephew, Jesus Arismendez, that was killed in Mexico on trying to get across to the United States. They did not find him immediately until a couple of weeks later in Reynosa. His name was Jesus Arismendez. Presente. Jesus Arismendez. Presente. They called him El Che. And this is what I wrote about it. De golpe en golpe se aleja el viento y se ahoga la voz en la ribera. Se ennegrece el pensamiento, cava una fosa la pena. Ahí reposas, peregrino, como inflamación en la senda, envuelto en noche y tabaco, un simple errante sin vuelta. Y en la cruz de la jornada, una colilla de cigarro, un puñado de tierra. Te acompaña una cadena de oro, canción de cuna maternal, bendiciones de un campo florido, campanadas de San Juan. Y de la grieta en tu costado resplandece un Ave María. Sangra el sol por la ribera, se consume la luz en la impotencia, entre el grito de las aves y la oración de los santos, se petrifica la pena. The following poem is entitled El Río. Desde la ribera, uno cuestiona la actitud de los sauces que entorpecen el agua con brazos abiertos. Despliegan sus pies hasta las profundidades por motivos que solo Dios sabe. Por el barranco serpentea el viento. Desbocado, arranca río abajo con lamentos intermitentes. Confieso que si desciendes de costado hasta las orillas, haces una reverencia y tomas de sus aguas, te confiará en murmullos los nombres. Algunos aún reposan en remansos, otros desfallecen al fondo. Su presencia, silentes sombras de tribus, en espera que aparezca un buen samaritano, camino a la salvación. Este siguiente poema se llama El Wetback Mojado. It came to me in Laredo in an event, and it says as follows: El Wetback Mojado. Clamp, clamp, sap, sap. Angus, Angus, yeah, over here, man. We've got ourselves another wetback. Oh shit, give me another cord. Oh Bob, what kills me is the goddamn paperwork. There's his wallet, take it. His name is Joe A. Queen? Joy Queen? What kind of a name is that? Where's he from? Wait a minute, I think I've got it. He's from Potosí, or something like that. Oh shit, rain again. So much for my Stetson, man. Let's get out of here. Let someone else claim this guy. And hurry. Shh. Cállate, güey, que te van a oír. A mí ni madres. Cuidado con el niño, que no haga ruido. Ya la hicimos, güey. Ya la hicimos. Lluvia, agua, rain, oh. One of the things that some of us that may get across and get to make a living, many times don't realize that we leave behind a family, right? And many of them do not join us with time. The next poem is dedicated to my great-grandparents that raised me just across on the other side of the river. To thinking that with age we realize that sooner or later we're gonna become them. We're gonna get old, we're gonna be aged, our kids are gonna grow up and many times forget about where they came from, where we came from, and what we represent in their lives. So this poem is about that. Don Tiburcio, cada año que pasa me parezco más a ti. A los 60 y pico de años encuentro a las orillas del camino huellas indelebles de tus pasos. Con ellos tropiezo a todas horas. Se cuelan entre mis hablas y escritos. Al que madruga, Dios lo ayuda, repetías con aire de profeta. Al que buen árbol se arrima, buena sombra lo cobija, comentabas con ramas de cedro en la mano. No dejes para mañana lo que puedas hacer hoy, murmuraban tus tardes en mi infancia. Yo asentía con la cabeza, sin urgencia alguna. Hoy me detengo para celebrar tu nombre, porque mañana yo seré como tú, abuelo, otro Tiburcio bajo el silencio de la luna. Bondad que fuiste, todo manos, todo brazo, todo luz en mis días. Calienta el sol mi rostro en la madrugada, pero al atardecer abro las puertas a la nostalgia. Entro, me siento a tu lado, me acerco a tu voz. Luego me asedian preguntas, abuelo. ¿Quién dirá que naciste en 1897? ¿Quién entenderá tus palabras, las mías? ¿Quién será nuestra voz mañana? Me basta pensarte para estar contigo. Me basto solo para celebrar tus pasos. Nostalgia te vuelves para bendecir los míos. ¿Sabes? No sé si es el niño aquel quien habla contigo ahora, o el viejo que soy y sueña despierto a tu lado todavía. Porque como decías, abuelo, el que a buen árbol se arrima, buena sombra lo cobija. Muchas gracias.
Mi nombre es Leti y es Oscar, mi pareja. Estamos cantando unas canciones de mariachi, rancheras en celebración de estos días y a los muertos. Y les deseamos toda la suerte y muchas gracias por toda su ayuda a las familias y a las gentes que ahorita están pasando esa crisis.
Todos me dicen el negro llorona, negro, pero cariñoso. Todos me dicen el negro llorona, negro, pero cariñoso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante, pero sabroso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante, pero sabroso. Ay, de mi llorona, 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 de ayer y hoy. Ay, de mi llorona, 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 de ayer y hoy. Ayer maravilla fui llorona y ahora ni sombra soy. Ayer maravilla fui llorona y ahora ni sombra soy. Ay, llorona, ya no llores, madre, tus hijos están bien. Dicen que no tengo duelo, llorona, porque no me ven llorar. Dicen que no tengo duelo, llorona, porque no me ven llorar. Hay muertos que no hacen ruido, llorona, y es más grande superar. Hay muertos ternura, no dejaré de quererte, y aunque la vida me cueste ternura, no dejaré de quererte.
All righty. But one of the things I want to mention very briefly, I'm just going to read one poem, is like Javier, I am from the border. I grew up right there. And I am very aware of the fact that if I'd grown up a mile to the west of where I grew up, I would have grown up in another country and my life would have been very different. And we talk about what can be done. I think the public discourse about the border is toxic. I don't think that what is said in Washington or in Austin has anything to do with the life that people face in the border as well. And I mention this because, well, I think you'll understand from my poem. It's about the El Paso shooting. It's called 600 Miles. 600 miles he drove because there weren't enough Latinos to hate in Dallas. He drove to El Paso, La Frontera, my hometown, to protect what he calls America from invasion. This defender of values pumped lead into a father and mother who threw their bodies across a baby to save her, into a father raising money for her daughter's soccer team, and into an elementary school teacher. This protector of America killed an Army staff sergeant and a high school student, and an 86-year-old woman in the checkout line, and a grandfather who'd taken his granddaughter to buy her a birthday present. 600 miles he drove and stopped at Walmart because he was hungry, but he changed his mind and pulled out a rifle instead of his wallet. He drove to my hometown because, he said, it's where races mix. My beautiful mixed-race son is a plague on the purity of his race. He didn't know that my high school class had Aboods and Abdus and Esquivels and Etheridges sitting next to Garcias and Gilmers and Johnsons, intermixing them with Lerners and Camposes and Wallaces. 600 miles he drove, firing at one of those classmates who survived, not knowing that all of us in that class, Arab, Anglo, Chinese, Latino, Black, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, were all praying for that classmate and for all the others who survived, and for those who didn't, and for our heartbreakingly beautiful city. He missed the point of El Paso, that we know each other, we like each other, and we get along. 600 miles he drove, not knowing that even before the shooting stopped, people of all races had come together, offering shelter, food, water. All of us, whatever race, Democrat, Republican, or Partido Nacional Revolucionario, would give money, time, heart, prayers, anything to help, because mixed people, like metals, form alloys, stronger together than their component parts, stronger than they could possibly be if they stood alone. 600 miles he drove to be arrested by Latino cops, to be charged by a Latino district attorney, to be arraigned by a Latino judge. And I hope that after a fair trial, they arrange to send him to a nice, frozen, frigid Aztec version of hell. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce John Mesa. You have to get
All right, John.
All right, John.
No, loud, get right there.
There.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Yeah? No? No? Yes?
We will when you start reading it.
I am, I'm gonna start by singing Amor Eterno.
tequila here, otherwise I probably. I got a couple of poems, in memoriam poems to my tios, my grandfather, Lawrence Ferlinghetti, George Floyd, and of course for all the immigrants. So after I say for my Tio Juan in memoriam, please respond with consent. And so, for my Tio Juan Mesa in memoriam.
Presente.
Ya cierra la puerta, tío. El aire ya no alienta. I placed a poem in his pocket, a piece of sky, the smell of mesquite, the sound of grandchildren laughing. Ya cierra la puerta, tío. El aire ya no alienta. I placed a song in his ear, un corrido about el hijo del barrio, filling his coffin con tierra from where he was born. Ya cierra la puerta, tío. El aire ya no alienta. I placed a prayer in his heart. Las lágrimas de tu familia serán tu único tesoro. They cry for all of us, tío, still here, and you are sitting beneath the tree, the breeze beneath your brothers, your sisters, y mi tía, closer with every breath. Ya cierra la tía, ya cierra la puerta, tío, el aire ya no alienta. Thank you. For my grandfather, Fernando Sanchez, in memoriam. He smelled like tequila sometimes, other times he smelled like the nopal after a soft rain. My apá would take me by the hand. We would pick hierba buena, wild roots and rosemary for healing, bugs, worms, flowers for eating, flor de calabaza, wild rose petals, y chile del monte. And we would walk by the old church where he would kneel to pray for la muerte de nuestros enemigos, pray for forgiveness, pray for the earth to provide us with everything that we needed. Beneath the shade of an old huizache, we ate scorpion and grubworm tacos con chile del monte, wild roses y flor de calabaza. I love the way my apa smelled, like tequila sometimes, and other times he smelled like the nopal after a soft rain. Thank you. For Lawrence Ferlinghetti in memoriam. I am sitting at a bar, waiting for Ferlinghetti. The sadness of Goya, the suicide of soul, is a landscape of discarded things, and here, writing, wearing anarchy, madness, withering away in solitude, his words are dead flowers on canvas. I am waiting for this merciless city to pay his debt. It sleeps beneath golden gates, the straits of God too narrow. I am willing to exchange roles, my life upon a church altar for an immigrant dream, looking through garbage for its daily bread. I am sitting at a bar waiting for Ferlinghetti to be reincarnated in this glass of whiskey, for the rapture to forget a fleeing lover, waiting for a rebirth of wonder. I am sitting at a bar waiting for Ferlinghetti, an American poet, on a long street in an ordinary city, waiting on intimations of immortality. Nice. For George Floyd in memoriam.
Presente.
A rusty badge kneels on broken asphalt for 9 minutes and 29 seconds in May. The world watched. The dead, the living are all early the day before morning. Where is my mama? Our collective breath is witness. Time is mud. Crowds gathered as luster fades. They walk, march, burn, build. The worst to come in collective fists and Molotov cocktails. Where is my mama?
immunity comes from rejection. On the steps of spring, after 11 months of lungs collapsing, we could all finally breathe. Thank you. Para mi abuela, Rosa Sanchez, in memoriam. In those small spaces of a country where desire dissolves Chile and rituals include cactus blossoms, my grandmother collected dust from worn shoulders to mix with masa y manteca. She would knead it all together into a galaxy of hope and dream up tortillas for the barrio, one for the weary traveler con huaraches, their soul in complete searching for the next step, and one for the immigrant to fill with master's grapes, one for la raza to fill with their rage. For my father, Bernardo Mesa, in memoriam. My father's watch. I keep it at the head of my bed, face up toward the sky. I wind it up now and then. Listen to it tick, tock. Half the band is missing. I've never replaced it. A reminder of his missing body parts, legs, fingers, toes. Disease and time took from him and how he never complained. They don't make Hamilton watches or men like my father anymore. My father's watch, I wind it up now and then. Listen to it tick tock, knowing it won't bring him back. But every second brings us closer together. I'm not going to read any more poems about my dad. I'll be up here bawling. This is a poem that I wrote as a trilogy for Immigrantes. I am honored to work alongside Eddie for the last 6 years. First, it was just putting out water barrels. Then it was helping him make water barrels, putting signs of agua on water barrels, helping him build flags for water barrels. Then it was building bunk beds for the hostel and whatever Eddie wants, I'm there, I'm down for him. And now it's expanded to participating with Operation Identification at Texas State University, Dr. Kate Spradley and her forensic pathology group, exhuming graves and trying to find some sort of closure for these people. This is called I Hold You in My Poetry. The sun rises from the soft, hollow dark of my palm. I eat cactus pears and leave bread for the angels to follow. I watch you sleep, lying under the dark side of Spanish stars, searching for sleep between the thistle and the thorn, heads touching ancient stones, crickets whispering secrets and goodbyes as stardust settles on foreheads. I make a bed of hibiscus and bougainvillea petals for you. Pick yerba buena, copal, rosemary, and red hummingbird sage to make a celestial potion for your black cinder scars and broken hearts. I carry your heart to ease the burden I carry poems in my pockets to chronicle the ache of your journey. I make peace with the ghosts of your childhood galaxies and former lovers by driving nails into white doves. Don't you know that I am down for you? Police revolvers and nightsticks offer your peasant bodies to tomorrow's vultures as you search for your brown reflection in the ashes of moonlight. Stow prayers in concrete rosaries as you tread lightly into the undertow of borders. All you want is to dream in your own language, to cultivate life from fertile lands. I step on your broken English and bless the catechism of Spanish tongues, tongues that confess the ghost of Zapata, embrace the iron of machetes, unchain the hour of resurrection on a distant riverbank. I hold you in my poetry of war and struggle, my poetry of alien insurrections. I hold you in my bones of poverty, in my ruta maya of salvation, my prose of crystal fronteras y Doroteo Arango's pistol. I hold you in my poetry of heartache and ballads, of church steeple bruises. I pay homage to your creation in every verse. I climb the pyramid of the sun with every line. I drop obsidian beats con el ritmo de mi alma. When I find your dead, I wash their bodies in the Sea of Cortez, cleanse their souls with sweet agave oil. I wrap their corpse with maguey, fill their mouths with the sweet Sonoran desert soil, and I place nopales upon their graves so that no one will ever disturb their dreams eternal. I sing corridos to carry with them as the wind rocks the constellation of a blue ring holy trinity. Juan Diego, crescent moon, Mexico City, Marian apparitions. I hold your children in my poetry. I tell them to speak like a native, to speak the fluent nectar of God. Let the flamenco rolling R's of ancient tongues flow from their lips, to climb Machu Picchu and offer prayers to their ancestors, to bow their heads as the sun rises over Teotihuacan. I tell them it is better to die on their feet than to live on their knees. I hold your hunger in my belly, your hate in my clenched fist. I hold your optimism in my eyes, your compassion in my embrace. I hold your thirst in my throat and your forefathers on my skin. I grieve for your present and for your future, but I will not mourn for you. I grieve for democracy, socialism, but I will not dictate your vote. I grieve for compañerismo, nepotism, y una mordida, equality, a united cause, but I will not choose for you. I hold you in my poetry and collect your memories and your dreams, and I weave them into the conversations of hope, into the bridges of diversity, into the hands of tolerance. I hold you in my poetry so the world may know that you will not apologize for being brown, for being beautiful, for wanting a better life, for wanting the American dream. I hold you in my poetry because you, not me.
So I'm La Lisa, and I'm a Day of the Dead artist. I'm also a political consultant and a former kindergarten teacher. Kind of all goes together. Well, anyway, Eddie, first I had said, I'll help you with an altar. And so I turned into the altar this weekend. And so, as you all know, what I always do in my altars, you have a past, present, future with the portal. I did the portal with the cactus to reminiscent of the desert, right? And I created the blue water for his barrels, because you always have to have the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. So we have all of the elements there, and it was my honor and privilege, as much as I gave Eddie a hard time about 48 hours notice to do the altar. It was really an honor and a privilege to do that. I didn't get to hear what you said about the altar, but I'd like to visit with you a little bit later about that. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.